Hello there, good people. We are live again this Thursday afternoon, depending on what coast you're on. I'm Ateira Griffin. I'm CEO and founder of Bond, Building Our Nation's Daughters. And we have two more guests with us today who are working on the front lines and wanted to give them the opportunity to go ahead and introduce themselves.
Sure. Hi, everyone. My name is Tyeisha. I am an intake coordinator for an outpatient mental health clinic, and I also work as a discharge coordinator in a psychiatric emergency room.
And you are a mom too?
Yes, I am a mom of a fifth grader at a local charter school here in Maryland.
Then we also have Diamrique who's joining us.
Hello, everyone. I am Diamrique Justice. I work as a warehouse associate for an Amazon warehouse, and I am a mother of a 2-year-old.
Woo, amazing. First, before we even get into the questions, I do want to say thank you on behalf of everyone out here in the world for both of you working in these positions. And I know before COVID, when we were going through our daily lives, a lot of people may not have taken the time to think about how crucial each of your occupations are, and everybody who works in the spaces where you both work. And as officers, as nurses, nurse practitioners, doctors, as our grocery store stockers, and as our clerks in different stores that we go to, our pharmacists. So we want to just say thank you first and foremost. Thank you for taking the time to talk to us today. We know that your schedules are ridiculously hectic. I know Diamrique is joining us from the car because look, man, that's where we are. And so first I want to say thank you. The first question I have for both of you is how has COVID impacted your work and home life? And how has your essential position impacted your role as a mom?
With me working in mental health, we've seen an influx of clients needing services. So I have to be at work. I'm fortunate enough to be able to work from home 4 days out of the week, but I have to go in on Fridays. And when I am here, I'm still having to take calls to get clients scheduled and assess their needs and refer them to the emergency room, unfortunately, sometimes because COVID is stressing everyone out on so many various different levels, and those that already have underlying mental health issues, it's making it worse, unfortunately. And there are not a lot of resources with places that are still actually accepting new patients. So I've seen an influx of calls from various different hospitals and even those on the outside trying to get resources. So I've still been very busy and then trying to navigate my daughter's new school schedule with everything being online. So it's been an adjustment, but we're working through it.
And Diamrique, what about you as working at Amazon? How has this impacted your work and home life and your ability to mom?
It has made things a little bit more concerning going to work. Each time I go in there, it just, there's a little piece of me that just doesn't want to be there out of concern of, could I be the next person to get COVID-19 from work?
Yeah.
Of home, my daughter is 2, so she is not in school as of yet. However, I do have the wonderful help and aid of my mother. So home hasn't changed drastically, other than when I get in the door, there's this whole regimen I have to go through. I was already an avid hand washer prior to COVID when I got in the house, but now it's I have to stop and wash my hands. I have to take off my clothes bare minimum. Even if my daughter is barreling towards me full speed, it hurts to be hold on, mommy, hold on. And I have to, take my clothes off and wash my hands and just try to make sure, I don't want to say that I'm clean. I don't know that I'm clean, but as safe as possible to be able to embrace my daughter.
Yeah, my job has actually started implementing in both of them because it's under the same umbrella. We have to wear a mask going in and out of the hospital, bringing a change of clothes for us to wear and changing our clothes when we get there, and then changing out of them and possibly showering if a shower is available before we even go back out, down to covering our hair. So it's a lot of different things that we have to do to protect ourselves and our others, particularly with me working in the emergency room,
Hmm.
there are a bunch of patients that are called PUIs, persons under investigation. So
Mhm.
just even in my coming and going, I might come across someone that could potentially be positive and put myself and my daughter at more risk, which has been extremely scary.
Thank you for sharing that. And it's really like thinking about the processes that you outlined, Dee, about like what you have to do when you come home and like how you have to help like maybe prepare everything that, how you have to change your clothes, how you have to like go and make sure that rain doesn't come right up to you. Um, all of the precautions that you have to take. Like, I really think it's important for people to understand that you don't just leave your job and get to come home and everything is fine and regular. Like, you've had to alter the way that you actually go about interacting with your family and, with your daughter and with your mom and your home. And, that's a different step that you've had to take. When you realize you were an essential employee, like what were your first thoughts and what steps did you take to help you prepare?
For me, I put in a plan into effect with my daughter and my aunt that if I did come across someone that was positive or if I
Mhm.
did contract the virus, she would have to stay with my aunt until it cleared. And even if it was me dropping off clothes or any other supplies that they would need while they were there, but I
Mhm.
did make her known that there's a possibility that she might not see me for a few weeks if I did contract the virus.
And so thinking about like what other family members might have to take your daughter if you had contracted COVID because you work in such a high risk space to even come in contact with folks who may have it. Like how did you explain that to your daughter? Like what were some of the conversations you had with her to help her understand like what was happening?
So we are avid news watchers. I've been watching the news my entire life, and that's something that I've allowed her to do. So I'm not
Mhm.
hiding or keeping anything from her. So she knows exactly what's going on, and I allow her to ask questions as needed.
Mhm.
She she pretty much she's been able to understand that because I work in a hospital, it puts me at a higher risk, and she knows all of the things that she needs to do to keep herself safe. So she does not
Mhm.
like to leave the house. If I've been trying to order groceries, so that way that limits one thing that we have to do.
Mhm.
And wearing a mask when we just simply go outside to the car to check the mail, to walk the
Mhm.
dog, or when she's going to my aunt's house, and just letting her know that I'm going to make sure that we're as safe as possible and that it's a possibility that I could get it and I could be okay and I could not.
Mhm.
And just being honest with her. I think that's right now, with her being a little bit older, that's the best thing to do is just honesty.
I think that's really important to share with like other moms out there who are on the front lines around the conversation that you even had with your daughter and helping her to understand it. But like you said, being honest because it's such high stakes, because you want to make sure that your daughter also understands how to be safe. It's important to share what's really happening and for her to be abreast of the news. How do you manage working on the front lines and taking care of your daughter? Like how do you manage that? What does your day kind of look like? Like what processes have you put in place?
This has been a struggle. Like the first day that they did online school, my daughter like broke down and cried. She was like, "This is too
Oh,
much. This is a lot, and I don't know how I'm going to do this." So I
oh
looked at everything that she needed to do, and I actually made a schedule for her. At this time, you're going to get up
no.
and have breakfast. At this time, you need to be trying to log on to the system, so that way, when it's time, you'll already be there.
Mm-hmm.
Down to you should be doing math and science at one time, and then ELA and writing at another time. And I
Mm-hmm.
planned for breaks. Unfortunately, my daughter has been trying to like push through and saying, "I don't want to take breaks. I just need to keep going so I can get this done." But
Uh-huh.
trying to keep a schedule, some kind of routine. She also has ADHD, so this is
Mm-hmm.
completely out of off
Yeah.
schedule for her. So I had to come back and make a schedule for her, so make sure that she's comfortable and can stay on track and not get anxious just about not knowing what's going on. So I think having a routine has greatly helped. And just trying to take care of myself. I have been cleaning insanely in between my calls and working while I am working from home,
Mm-hmm.
going into my daughter's room and just like decluttering and wiping everything down, stuff that you wouldn't even think about
Yeah.
if in children's rooms under things. It's just like, wow, this is my such and such that I've been looking for. It's under your nightstand. So
Oh my gosh.
just trying to like have some level of normalcy do this all is all I can do. And just at the end of the day, like taking time for myself. I've made a point to in the Bible app, since we haven't been able to get to church, they have this new things called story. So in the morning before I even get out of bed and wake her up, I've been like going through and just like reading the daily scripture, like going through the prayer and listening. They have like a 2-minute little video going through the scripture. So I've been doing that, and that's been very, very helpful for me. And just trying to be calm, like because of so much uncertainty, it's hard to try to like turn your mind off and not think about the what ifs of everything and how, okay, if they do decide to like shut everything down, like how are we going to get food? Like how am I going to navigate everything? So having a plan in place and not trying to overthink it is the best thing that I've been trying to do.
Yeah, I think it's really important for other moms to hear like some of the things that you've put in place to plan, especially like our school age kids are dealing with being separated from their space of socialization, right? And so it's a place where they're used to getting their social connections and activity, their normalcy. And so students who may have like students with special needs or students who have, like many of us do, ADD or ADHD and just need some type of structure to help support us move through the day, like being able to recognize that in your own daughter and help her create a schedule that had an ebb and flow, but also push her to take breaks, because kids sometimes don't think about their own self-care. And it is our job. It is your job as their mom to be able to help them start to navigate that. So I'm glad you shared that. We may get you to share a sample schedule so that we can post it up with moms on our Facebook page so they can see like kind of what it looks like. You know, just little things like that, taking a walk, pointing out some things that may give her a sense of normalcy, right? Like, oh, there are the trees, there are the flowers, here's the playground. Being able to put in those little moments in a day, and for you taking that time to just do nothing. I do want to call out, like there was an article I read recently. I think one was in the New York Times and one was on Flip. If people use Flip on their phones, there are a lot of beautiful articles you can read there. And one of them had mentioned like this is a great time to also recognize that we don't have to be overproductive. And so I know, Tyeisha, you were talking about with your daughter, how she just wants to zoom through everything, giving her the ability to practice breaks, giving her the ability to practice, like we don't have to put ourselves into overdrive just because we feel like we're not doing anything. You know, it's okay to just sit and be quiet. It's okay to watch a show, read a book. It's okay to just sit with your thoughts. You know, it's okay to do those things. It's okay to not check everything off your task list in a day, because we are dealing with something that is completely outside of the norm, right? And so you both being able to communicate that there are ways you put that into your days, but also ways that you try to instill that into your daughter's days, I think is really important and admirable, because you are also juggling thinking about how to continue to care for your family and keep your family safe at the same time. And so it's that mental health and well-being piece. What has worked and what's not working? Like nitty gritty, real talk. Like, what do you think is going well? And what is just like, look, this is not working for me. If y'all have ideas, tell me.
For me, the schedule has definitely worked. Like we need structure in our house, so the schedule has made things a lot easier. She knows what's expected of her during what times. And the only thing that hasn't really worked for us is her not wanting to take a break. Like she just wants to keep going and going and going. And I'm like, look, it's okay. Like you have until Sunday to finish most of your work, and you've already finished all of your assignments for one of your classes. It's okay to stop. She was eating breakfast while she's going. She's eating lunch while she's going. And she's like, after you finish, can you help me with, like, no, we're not going to do that. We're going to do something that you want to do. I have a spa day planned for us on Saturday. So that way we can both just like relax, since we can't like go out and get our nails or anything done. So just a moment for us to like sit and be able to talk together and just do something together, even if it's just painting our nails.
That's beautiful. You just gave a great tip right there, creating days with each other. And in Bond, we really focus on how to spend time with mom and daughter that creates connection, develops great communication, and cultivates a healthy relationship between mom and daughter. And one of the ways we do it is through shared experiences. And so having a spa day, and you can use household items. Like we have a video that'll be coming out soon that shows everyone how to make a sugar scrub with household items that you have right in your house. And being able to make the scrub together and then use the scrub on your feet, maybe for a pedicure, and then paint your nails, little cute things that are calming and relaxing, but also create this lovely time to bond together. It's a great idea. I'm so excited to hear you say that. Yeah. And also happy to hear you talk about what's not working. We're gonna work with what you have to be able to push through some of the challenges that we may be facing, because let's be honest, a lot of the challenges, especially in the Black community that we are facing right now, were pre-existing, unfortunately. So thinking about our issues with health, our issues with our workspaces, and some of the trying times that we have when we go to work, being put in harm's way sometimes more often than other communities, at risk of losing their jobs more often than other communities. These are things that we were already dealing with, living in spaces that are highly populated and therefore dense and therefore have more pollution. So we may have asthma, we may have other underlying health conditions, but we can work with what we have and go on top of that to continue to protect ourselves. So going out and wearing a mask is very important, especially because oftentimes we live in spaces that are dense and highly populated. And so social distancing is hard, but a mask can help. And we can make that out of t-shirts we have in our home, figuring out how to utilize the resources that we have right where we are in order to make our situation better. And one point Tyeisha brought up, and I think you did too, Dee, you said you wouldn't have been able to go through this without your mom, thinking about who's in your village, right? Who's in your village already that you can check on, you can talk to on a regular basis, come together with, if they've already been in your space and it's safe to be around them and you won't be putting them at risk, and vice versa. And whose help is necessary, who can you rely on? That's something that I heard both of you bring up about other family members you've been able to lean on that have been great supports to you both at this time. And so moms on the front line, what I'm hearing from both of you, need that extra added support from their friends or family in the community that already exists in their village. And so if you have someone that you're close with and they're working on the front lines, take the time to call them, text them, check on them, see what support they might need, because they're out here, they're doing a lot of work for us, and we want to make sure that we support them too. Any other resources and tools that you found helpful for you as a mom on the front lines that has helped you navigate this time and still be able to do your momming the best way that you can at this point in time?
Just some resources that we've been circulating throughout work. If anybody is in need of mental health services, there are several places that are doing telehealth or getting services through text message or online. So those are things, or even help groups that are online now, since a lot of places aren't offering face-to-face services. I saw that someone shared that they're even doing Zoom substance abuse meetings like NA and AA. So I think that'll be a helpful resource to some people that are struggling with those kinds of things.
I would also just like to say, take this time to tap into your creative side if you have one. If you're not creative, that's okay too. But YouTube is just simple things to do.
I'm glad you raised up, Tyeisha, the telehealth situations you have in Talkspace is also another organization that's supporting with mental health supports. And then Bond, we have our circle times, and we're going to actually be opening up open circles starting next week. And so look out for that information from us, where we'll be bringing moms and daughters together for some lunch bunch once a week to just have some time to connect and to talk and to recreate that lunchroom feel that many of us may be missing. And I know especially our girls who are in school or school age are missing at this point in time too. And also, we'll be sharing some more resources. Make sure that you follow Bond on Instagram at mdb.o.n.d. We share resources all the time in our stories. And also make sure you follow us and like our page on Facebook, because we have a lot of connections with resources and tools that can help during this time of need. Like, what is something that you want folks to know about what it means to be a mom and working on the front lines? Like, what is something that you think has not been said that you want to share?
I would continue to stay home if you don't need to come out. There's no reason for you to be outside. Like, coming outside is putting yourself, your family, and other people at risk, because there are a lot of people that are asymptomatic and just spreading the virus around and not even knowing it. So unless you have to go out for food, or if you're one of us that have to go out for work, and when you are, just protecting yourself as best as possible, stay home.
What do you actually do to make sure you're keeping your house safe when you come in from outside? Like, what is the practice that you have to, like, how do you take the clothes, and like, do you have a certain place you put them? Is there a certain space you only do this in? Like, what does that process look like for each of you? I think that would be really practical for people to hear before we end today.
So for me, with me coming, the particular days that I work in the emergency room, whatever I have gets turned inside out and is going in my laundry basket. I only wear one pair of shoes out of the house, and I leave them in my kitchen because that's a floor that we can clean. And I'm automatically washing my hands and getting in the shower when we come in. That's something that we've had to do, and now they've implemented the new process that we have to have our hair covered. So I'm going to have to take down my hair and do another protective style, so that way I can have my hair fully covered when we're going, when I'm going into the emergency room particularly. But just making sure you're washing your hands as soon as you come in through the door, and whatever clothing you have on that you've worn outside, just don't keep it on. Shower and change. And most certainly do not put any of those things in your bed or in your bedroom space without cleaning them. I've been Lysoling down everything. Like, even when I get groceries, like Lysoling down the outside of the bags and then wiping off the things as we put them away. Just trying to be a little extra cautious.
Yeah. Well, thank you both so much. I think this was really informative, and it was really good to hear, one, like, that you all have been able to put some kind of practices in place to restabilize home life, even though you're working on the front lines. It's good to hear you both healthy and safe and well. We are home, most of us, unless you are working on the front lines. If you are home, fill out the census. It does not take more than about 20 minutes. $18,000 is what we lose for every person that does not fill out the census. Yes, babies count too. So make sure that you do that. Make sure everyone in your home is counted. I just want to say thank you, Tyeisha, and thank you, Dion Marie.
Thank you for having me.
Y'all were awesome. I hope that everyone walked away from this conversation with something to learn. We will be doing this again every Thursday. So next Thursday, we will be back on. Next Thursday, we're on at 2 p.m. And we will be talking to mompreneurs next Thursday. To continue to connect with us, make sure you follow us on Facebook at Building Our Nation's Daughters, and on Instagram at m.b.o.n.d. And we will continue to put more resources and ways to connect in those spaces. And we look forward to seeing you all next Thursday. All righty. Bye-bye.
Bye.